Hey guys, Survival Mouse. So the other day I came out here and I was going to do some videos, and it was raining, and that's what I was going to do the videos over. I was going to come out on my motorcycle, shoot some, camping in the rain, how to keep dry type videos. But I ended up actually getting into a real life uh, survival situation. And so what I wanted this video to be about was, what I did right and what I did wrong, and hopefully you can learn from some of my mistakes. So even being a survival instructor, I still managed to get myself into a real life survival situation. That being said, being prepared as if I was going to come out here and do some bushcrafting and do some survival training, I was pretty well prepared for it. So we're going to talk about that. So what happened was I was riding my motorcycle. I was coming out this trail that's behind me, and I pulled off the side of the trail to let a truck come by. This old man was in this truck, and I pulled off to the side to let him go by. And as he went by, I kind of nodded at him or whatever. As he went by, I went to go again, and before I could start going, the back end of my bike started sliding down the ditch that I had pulled next to, down the hill. And what happened was it just sort of slowly came out from under me. I tried to walk with it to get it stable. I put my foot down, and when the bike finally came over, it turned my foot backwards and smashed it, which is why I'm now on crutches and in a brace. And I don't think I broke anything, but uh, they took x-rays and they told me to come back in a week and see what happened. But so that being said, I was pinned under my motorcycle. The old man never saw it, never saw me go down. So I was pinned under my motorcycle for more than an hour. And the only reason I really got rescued was someone finally saw the flashlight that I had. I have a strobe function on my flashlight, and someone finally saw that reflection. But several vehicles had already gone by and never saw me. 2 or 3 vehicles out here, and this is kind of a remote area. It's not really horribly remote. There's a little bit of traffic out through here. I just moved to this area, so I'm not really familiar with it, but it seems to be that there's a good bit of traffic compared to where I used to go do all my bushcrafting videos and stuff. But several vehicles missed me with me yelling, blowing whistle, doing everything that I should have done. And until I got the flashlight out and it started getting dark enough for someone to see that reflection, no one saw me because I was down in that ditch and I was pinned under my motorcycle. The motorcycle was uphill from me and I couldn't get the leverage to get it off of me. So I did leave a plan with my wife, and what got her to realize something was wrong was that I missed my check-in time. So she started, figuring out something was going on, but by then someone did see me and help me out. So that being said, I wanted to talk about some of the things I did right, some of the things I did wrong. So one of the things that I did right, in my opinion, was I had a first aid kit. And I had that first aid kit on my top box of my bike, not on either side. Now, I didn't plan it that way, but it turned out good that way, and that's where I'm going to keep it for now on for this reason. So the fact that it was on the top box made it to where, even though I was pinned underneath it, I could still get to the top box and manage to get the first aid kit out and take an ibuprofen because I knew that my leg was going to swell. In the future, though, I will be putting an ice pack and possibly some pain reliever in there. Another thing that I feel like I did right, we'll talk about that, is the first aid kit not being in the side boxes, because if it had been in the side box that was pinning me down, I would never have been able to get to my first aid kit. So that was important. Another thing that I did right was that I left a plan. And so when I missed a check-in time with my wife, she knew something was going on. Now, I don't think either way that I would have been spending the night out here, because someone would have realized that I was missing. But if you were one of these people that just goes out by yourself for days and days and days and doesn't contact someone, that whole time you could be in a lot of trouble. And it doesn't take very long, before something bad could happen. Something as heavy as a bike, that bike weighs probably over 600 pounds, I would say 800, something like that. So you get trapped under this thing with all the gear that I had on it. If it had broken my leg and caused compartment syndrome, I could have been dead before someone got a hold of me, or I could have been unconscious to the point that and then died. So that being said, leaving a plan with someone is very important. Now, some of the things I believe I did wrong or that I could change in the future, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to get one of those GPS locator beacons that you can press a button and it call for help or call emergency services or whatever. Another thing I will do is I'm a ham radio operator. So in the future, I'm going to carry my ham radio. I don't know that I could, I did hit a repeater out here, but no one replied. But that being said, I could put my wife on standby. She's also a ham radio operator, and any friends that are ham radio operators, I could be like, hey, I'm going to be out here. Could you turn your radio on? And that way, at least I could, signal and get help that way. Another thing is I will never again rely on my cell phone as my main communication device. So, and I'm going to try. One of the reasons that I ended up in that situation was I was out here by myself. So I believe in the future, if I'm bringing the bike or anything like that, um, I'll probably be with someone. I'll have someone come with me, or at least come with me until I get here, and so on and so forth. Now, not always, obviously, that's, part of the fun of it is coming out by yourself and doing it solo. So, not always, but that's definitely something that I'll work on in the future is, possibly having someone with me. Um, what else here? Also, carrying the proper equipment to self-rescue. So whistles, a jack. I was in the process of making a log jack when I did get rescued, but I was going to make a log jack, and we'll talk about how to do that in the future. The ability to pull the bike off of me would have been great. So now I'm carrying the little carabiners and the pulleys, and I'll show those in a future video how to do that. But I could have made a 4-to-1 pulley system then and been able to pull it off of me. And so that's something I'm going to be carrying for now on, and I'll keep either on myself or on the bike. So, all right, guys. Well, the rest of this video, I'm just kind of chilling out here camping because I'm injured, so I'm not going to be able to do very much. But so it may not be a very long video, but just enjoy the rest of the video, and hopefully you guys learn from my mistakes. And if you have any more suggestions of, if I ended up in that situation, what I could do better, let me know in the comments. All right, thanks for watching. that char cloth seems to be inferior. Didn't seem to want to light very well. Moisture must have gotten to it, because it wasn't brittle. Usually if your char cloth is brittle, then something's up with it, but it wasn't brittle. Usually what causes it to be brittle is that you let too much of it touch the side of the can, when the side of the tin, when you're making your char cloth or charred wood. But either way, we got it going. All right, well, that's not working very well, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the ferro rod. Showing how much easier a ferro rod is. Modern problems call for modern solutions, right? A lot of smoke, which means it needs oxygen, so that's why I'm not setting it down immediately. All right, there we go. Now I'm gonna put it under there. Now this is just me showing that you can just lift this side to get the oxygen you need. You don't have to lift this to get the oxygen you need. That's just showing a different technique. Not saying that he's wrong, just showing a different technique. I'm sure if I'd have hacked away at it all day, I could have got the flint and steel, but not that big of a deal. I'll show it another time. If you're really concerned about being able to get your next fire started, one of the best things you can do is what's called banking your fire. I saw this from Zach Fowler, the winner of season 4 on the Alone show. And what you do is right before you go to bed, you'll take a log, something big, a little bit bigger than this, and you'll set it on the coals, and then you'll take the ash from the outside and you'll cover that log up, and what that does is suffocate it from oxygen. And you'll just have a tiny little pinhole where you're getting oxygen to it, and that allows it to sit there and smolder all night. You can come back midday the next day, move all the ash off the top, and you'll have still a bed of coals from that one that you banked, and that's called banking the fire. And so then you just put your tinder bundle on there and blow it into flame, and you have a lot of coals that way. So it's a lot better system, and it's a lot better. He kept his fire going for 50-something days doing it that way, so, without having to do any sort of, ferro rod hand drill, anything like that. So really good technique. Once you get one fire started, that next fire mentality, you shouldn't have to worry about doing another fire. So what I'm doing is I'm making something called a burn bowl, and what this is for sanitizing water primitively. So I've gone around the edges as far as I want to go this way, so I'm going to start closing it off this way. And you do that by putting clay on the edge that you don't want to get burned, and that kind of slows down the process of it trying to get to that area. So this is wet clay, and so it's going to have a little bit harder time burning this stuff. And so that's what we're doing right now. We're just kind of pasting the area that we don't want to burn and leaving the area that we want done. Now the premise of this, what you'll do is you will take your fist-sized rocks, and it's very important where you get your rocks, stones or whatever. It's important that you do not get them near a water source. So right now I'm near a creek. I would never take the ones near the creek because they can explode. What it is the rocks get moisture inside of them, and once they get moisture inside of them, once you superheat them in a fire, that water turns to gas, turns to steam, tries to escape, can't escape, builds up pressure until the rock explodes, sending the rock into shrapnel. I had a student one time who did not listen to that when we explained that, and I was literally standing right next to his fire when the rock exploded, and I now have a scar right here. That's the scar on my hand that was from the bubble, from the burn that I received, and the shrapnel wound that I received from his rock exploding. And it was more of a burn than it was a shrapnel, but there definitely is shrapnel coming off of it. It could definitely hurt your eyes. So what we're going to do is we'll find fist-sized rocks. We'll fill both of these with water. Once this is done, this will be watertight, and we'll fill this with water, both of them. And you'll take your fist-sized rocks and you'll put them in the fire. And once you put them in the fire, you will you'll wait for them to get really hot, and then you'll take tongs, 2 sticks, and you'll dip in one, which will then clean that rock off of any dirt and contamination. You just clean it off, and then you drop it into the next one. And that rock, being so superheated, will actually boil the water, and that's called rock boiling. And this is a way to make 2 containers. If you're going to do one of these, you might as well do 2. And that's a way that you can boil it. So now I'm going to show you guys a little bit of this process. So what I'll do is I'm going to open up my fire here, try to get to where I can get to some of these good coals in here. I'll rake some of them out here. Just a good one like that. That's plenty. Here's another one I could probably use. I'll leave those for next time. Then I'm going to take a bellows. You could use something like bamboo or anything like that, and I'm going to start blowing into this. You'll notice fairly quickly it'll start lighting up. Now when it lights up like that, that's getting the whole area start going. Now if you look, I'm going to turn this around. You can see a little bit of what's going on. Alright, so now, once I've done that for a little bit, I'm going to take this and dump these coals out. And what's left behind, I'm then going to take a stick and I'm going to scrape away. And you'll notice this will get a lot larger. Now I'm going to toss that out and look again. Now when you see these big cracks right here, see this crack right here, there's a large one right there, and there's a large one right here. Now it's important that I don't leave those there. So when this starts getting superheated, I'll go ahead and really quickly peck at it so that it opens that back up. Because what happens is if you don't take care of that immediately, it'll start spreading, and this can eventually crack over into this one and kind of defeat the purpose. So that's how you make a burn bowl. Alright, so my stones have been in this fire for a while. Now I'm going to open it up. I cover them up because I've had them explode on me before, and I'm extremely paranoid that that's going to happen again. So I try not to take that risk. Once they're nice and piping hot, you'll bring one out. It's hard to do left-handed. You'll dip it in the first one to clean it off. Drop it in the second one. And let it work for a minute. While that one's working, I'll be getting you another one out. Well, it's not supposed to happen like that. These I could just toss back in the fire, but I'm not going to be bulling that many. I'm just doing this as an example. Well, you don't want to do that either. I'm losing all the heat on that one. So once it gets to that point to where it's a rolling bowl like that, that water right there, I'm totally secure in drinking this water. So I'm gonna drink this water to prove that, but you see how dirty your water would be if you didn't dip them in this one first. Now, as you guys can see, I dropped a lot of them. Not exactly the best tools for this. I should have made something sort of like a spoon to be able to dip them out, put them in here. But I'm used to using fist-sized rocks, not these small ones. This is kind of a small burn bowl. So in the future, I believe I would definitely make a better implement for doing this. But this water right now is safe to drink. And all of these that we've taken out, these have pretty much already been tried by fire. So these are safe for the fire. So you can just keep reusing these stones over and over and over. Now once that cools down, that's drinkable water.